In the 1960s, the world held its breath. The Cold War was at its peak, and humanity was grappling with a new, terrifying power. We had harnessed the atom. We were racing to the stars, and for the first time, we had the ability to destroy ourselves, not with bombs, but with ambition. And in 1965, a film arrived that turned this anxiety into a spectacular cinematic disaster. Hello, and welcome back to Golden Flicker. Today, we are journeying deep into the Earth's crust to uncover the secrets of the science fiction thriller, Crack in the World. This film was different. It wasn't about alien invaders or giant monsters born from radiation. It was about us. It was about scientists, driven by arrogance and noble intentions, who decide to tap the limitless geothermal energy at the Earth's core by detonating a nuclear bomb deep underground. What could possibly go wrong? The result was a disaster film that felt chillingly plausible, capturing the era's fear that our own progress could be our undoing. Do you remember the first time you saw this classic? Or is this your first time exploring it? We've dug deep to find the 17 most fascinating, dangerous, and ingenious stories from behind the scenes. We'll be counting them down from 17 to the number one secret, a secret that proves this film was much, much more than just science fiction. Let's begin. Kicking off our countdown at number 17, we have a fact we call the Neighborly Geologist. While the premise was wildly speculative, the producers wanted a veneer of scientific authenticity. But this wasn't a mega-budget blockbuster. They couldn't afford to retain a team of geologists. Their solution? The film's technical advisor, the geologist who consulted on the script's theories, was simply the producer's next-door neighbor. It's a wonderful reminder that sometimes getting a movie made is less about who you know in the industry and more about who you know on your street. Number 16 is The Disaster Specialist. This sets the stage for the film's incredible visual effects. The man hired to supervise the destruction was none other than Eugène Lourié. If that name sounds familiar, it should. Lourié was a master of the craft, known for his work on giant monster classics. He understood scale, and he understood how to make audiences believe in the impossible. His involvement was a guarantee that when this film's disaster finally struck, it would be spectacular. He was the perfect choice to visualize a disaster caused not by a creature, but by the Earth itself. At number 15, the cult classic Reunion looks at the film's human element. The story required a tense love triangle, and the producers found a shortcut to on-screen chemistry. The film reunited actors Jeanette Scott, who played Dr. Maggie Sorensen, and Kieran Moore, who played the hero Dr. Ted Rampion. The two had previously starred together in the 1963 cult classic, The Day of the Triffids. The producers knew their existing chemistry would work perfectly for the film's romantic subplot, providing an established emotional anchor amidst the scientific chaos and impending doom. Number 14, The Stars Come Back. This role was a significant moment for the film's troubled lead. The central role of Dr. Stephen Sorensen, the brilliant but fatally arrogant scientist, went to Dana Andrews. This was a significant moment for Andrews. Once a major star, his career had stalled, and this film marked his return to the screen after a 4-year hiatus. Andrews was known for his strong, stoic presence, and he was the perfect choice to portray a man who is simultaneously a genius and a fool. Someone so convinced of his own vision that he ignores all the warnings. It was a notable and complex comeback role. In fact, at number 13, The Tragic Anti-Hero, the script itself gave Andrews incredible material to work with. His character, Dr. Sorensen, wasn't a cackling mad scientist. He was written as a deeply flawed, complex, arrogant, and manipulative anti-hero. He is the one driving the project forward, but he's also secretly dying, which fuels his desperate need to see his life's work completed, no matter the cost. This tragic flaw elevated the film above a simple B-movie, turning the scientific debate into a powerful personal drama. Number 12 reveals the Spanish doppelganger. While the disaster in Crack in the World is global, the production was anything but. The entire movie, from the vast underground labs to the various disaster sites, was filmed almost entirely in Spain. It was shot primarily in and around Madrid over 7 weeks. The rugged Spanish landscapes provided the perfect desolate-looking terrain, and the country's lower production costs were the only reason a film of this ambitious scale could even be made. At number 11, a critical success, we look back at the film's immediate legacy. While some modern viewers might dismiss it as a 60s sci-fi flick, critics in 1965 took it very seriously. It received surprisingly positive reviews. Howard Thompson of the New York Times called it the best science fiction thriller this year, praising its credible scientific approach. And Variety commended its startling special effects and imaginative focus. At a time when sci-fi often meant rubber suits, Crack in the World was respected for its seriousness, its pacing, and its genuinely thrilling premise. Number 10 gives us a peek into the Tabletop Caverns. This is all about that movie magic. The film's underground laboratory set was a marvel. It looked like a sprawling, multi-million-dollar complex, something out of a James Bond film. But the magic, as it so often is, was a clever illusion. Many of the vast underground chambers were actually intricate miniature sets built by talented Spanish crews. These sets were often no bigger than a kitchen table, but through clever forced perspective, matte paintings, and dramatic lighting, they were transformed into a convincing, high-tech subterranean world. We are just getting to the halfway point, and the stories are already heating up. The real-life drama on set and the ingenious secrets of the special effects are still to come. Here at Golden Flicker, we are passionate about digging up these hidden stories from cinema history. But we are a new channel, and we truly cannot do it without you. If you are enjoying this journey into the past, please take a moment to illuminate our day by clicking that like button. It genuinely helps our videos reach more people. And if you want to make sure you never miss a story, hit subscribe. We have so much more to explore. We'd also love to know which classic film secret should we investigate next. Let us know in the comments below. All right, back to the countdown. At number 9, a fact we call blending reality with magma. This is how the filmmakers cleverly stretched their budget. When it came time to show the Earth truly breaking apart, even the best miniatures have their limits. To sell the catastrophic global scale of the disaster, the effects team licensed actual footage of real volcanic eruptions. They skillfully blended this raw, chaotic, and unpredictable real-world footage with their own miniature explosions and smoke effects. This mix of fact and fiction created a final sequence that was far more authentic and terrifying than anything they could have crafted alone. But at number 8, the on-screen disaster became the Unplanned Inferno. This is when the movie became terrifyingly real. While filming in the dry, rugged Spanish countryside, the production staged a scene involving a locomotive. In a horrible twist of fate, sparks from the train's wheels ignited the bone-dry brush by the tracks. A massive brush fire erupted, spreading instantly. Life suddenly imitated art as the crew found themselves in the middle of a genuine, uncontrolled disaster that was entirely their fault. This leads directly to number 7, cast and crew versus the wildfire. The fire was raging and spreading rapidly toward a nearby village and a precious oak forest. The entire film crew, including the actors, had to drop the cameras and spring into action. They grabbed shovels, blankets, and anything else they could find to fight the blaze themselves. It was a chaotic and dangerous scene. By the time the fire was contained, several members of the cast and crew had suffered minor burns and singed arms, but they had managed to stop the fire from destroying the village. Number 6 reveals the film's surprising nuclear legacy. The final apocalyptic images of crack in the world, of the Earth tearing itself apart in a blaze of fire and magma, were seared into the minds of a generation. They were so effective, so horrifyingly convincing, that they directly inspired one of the most terrifying films ever made. Nearly 2 decades later, the producers of the 1983 television movie The Day After used the climax of Crack in the World as a visual reference for depicting a full-scale nuclear apocalypse. At number 5, the Cold War in the script. This theme of nuclear anxiety was woven into the film's DNA from the very beginning. The screenplay wasn't just a simple what-if scenario. It was a direct reflection of contemporary Cold War anxieties. The central conflict between Dr. Sorensen, who wants to use a nuclear missile for his project, and Dr. Rampion, who warns it could destroy the planet, mirrored the real-world debates happening in governments and universities. The script was heavily shaped by fears of reckless atomic testing and the idea that scientific hubris could lead to global, unintended consequences. This brings us to number 4, Project Mohole's nuclear upgrade. This is the core concept that made the film so terrifying. The filmmakers took the real-world idea of deep Earth drilling and added the ultimate Cold War accelerant, a nuclear weapon. In the film, Project Innerspace doesn't just drill. It plans to detonate a nuclear device at the boundary of the crust to blast its way to the magma. This was the script's masterstroke, taking a relatively obscure scientific ambition and weaponizing it with the most feared object on Earth, creating a nightmare scenario that felt entirely plausible to a 1965 audience. We are now in our top 3, and at number 3, we find a story of pure, practical, cinematic genius. We'll call it the Gantry Decoy. We've talked about Eugène Lourié's brilliant miniature work, but for the film's climax, he had a problem. How do you spectacularly destroy the massive gantry structure towering over the drill site? The answer? You don't. The crew built 2 identical gantry models. The first was a beautifully crafted, highly detailed model made of metal, used for all the general shots and close-ups where it needed to look perfect. But the second model was a work of destructive art. This brings us to number 2, and tonight's golden flicker moment, Destruction by Balsa wood. That second gantry model, the one built for destruction, was made almost entirely of balsa wood. Why? Because balsa wood is incredibly lightweight and shatters beautifully. Lourié and his team knew that if the ground opened up and swallowed the metal model, it wouldn't just be expensive, it would be dangerous. But the balsa wood model would disintegrate completely. It would look like a massive steel structure crumbling under immense force without any of the risk. It was a solution of pure, practical genius. They built one for beauty and one for annihilation. This dual-model approach allowed them to capture one of the most convincing and spectacular miniature destruction sequences of the decade, all while keeping the crew safe. That, for us, is the kind of behind-the-scenes magic we live for. Do you agree this is the golden flicker moment? And now, we've arrived at number 1, the most important fact about Crack in the World, the secret that redefines the entire film. This fact is, the headline was real. The premise of the movie was not science fiction. The film was directly and explicitly inspired by a real, active, and highly publicized American scientific endeavor called Project Mohole. Started in the late 1950s, Project Mohole was an ambitious and very real effort to do exactly what the film's scientists wanted to do: drill through the Earth's crust to reach the Mohorovičić discontinuity, the boundary between the crust and the mantle. The project was controversial, incredibly expensive, and captured the public's imagination. The press was filled with speculative articles about the challenges and the potential dangers. The screenwriters of Crack in the World simply took this real-world project, added the nuclear missile, and asked the terrifying question, what if they're wrong? The film wasn't just a fantasy, it was a cautionary tale. It was a direct response to the scientific hubris of its own time, taking a real-world headline and extrapolating it into a global apocalypse. Crack in the World exists because for a brief moment in time, the entire world was watching a group of real scientists who were, in fact, planning to drill a hole in the world. From a real-world project that inspired a cinematic nightmare to a production that survived its own real-life disaster, Crack in the World remains a fascinating snapshot of a time when science and spectacle collided. If you discovered something new today, illuminate our day by clicking like and subscribe to Golden Flicker so you never miss a story from the annals of cinema history. Which film should we explore next? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, keep your flicker golden.